Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of XRP, taking a look at what's been going on most recently, what we expect to happen next. As we get into the video, you know what to do, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, let's get started. So XRP paired up with USDT here. We're on the hourly chart and Binance is the data source. Obviously you can see some volatile movements today. I don't know if there's a pump and dump kind of thing going on here or people going to get carried away. I did see an article saying that there's about 88 million XRP that's moved to wallets and things like that. But since the kind of pump this morning, it has come down quite rapidly. However, this particular scenario has cropped up and changed some of our analysis using Elliott wave theory. Okay, so we're going to jump into this and we're going to break down what's been going on here and we'll take it from there. So the first thing we want to do is just kind of zoom out just a fraction, okay? And so when we kind of zoom out on this, we can see that we are expecting a fifth wave down lower. Now, based on what's happened today, we can now assume that this is looking more and more likely to be an ending diagonal rather than a straight 5-wave drop towards our targets. Okay, this means that our targets probably will not get hit and we'll probably be a little bit higher than expected. Okay, so we were aiming for between 23.04 to 26.42. However, I'm thinking we're probably not going to quite get down that low. In fact, we might end up with a double bottom around 30 or 28 cents. Okay, a little bit too soon to know exactly where that's going to go, but let's jump down into this structure here so we can get a good idea as to why I'm saying this. Straight off the bat, we can see that this high point up here, this was our WXY. This was a nice three-wave structure with multiple confirmations of 40.099. If I can get my words out, 40.99 cent being the high point. Then we started to break on down with a very choppy kind of corrective structure. And then we got a 5-wave drop, or what looked to be the 5-wave drop coming down here. Let me just show you. So at this point in time, we were tracking this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then looking for that final fifth. It would have made a 3-3-5 corrective structure of 3 waves nonetheless. So it doesn't change our massive amount of outlook, but what does change here is the fact that we invalidated that 5th wave with this particular bump to the upside. Okay, so instead of a 5-wave drop at the end here, this is now a 3-wave drop. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just drop this in with W, X, and Y like so. Okay. Now we are, of course, moving 3 waves up as well. So although we haven't technically gone lower than this point just yet, I do think that is coming around the corner in just a moment. So one of the things that we have to kind of acknowledge here is a much bigger scale. If I just take an ABC, for example, we go up here with an A, B, and C coming down. So we end up with our 3-wave structural drop. We'll be looking for something similar this end. We'll come up, we'll come back down, we'll move up again, maybe something to this effect, and then we'll move back down again. Okay, and we'll continue these kind of choppy corrective structures like this, just in 5-wave fashions. Okay, so we'll end up with something that will eventually, and in fact actually there'll be overlap between some of these as well. They should definitely overlap, and then of course we'll finish off with the final 3-wave structure. Now that there is a 5-wave drop, which is called an ending diagonal. Basically it's 5 waves comprised of 3-wave structures. So we come down here into 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 like that, and wave 4 overlaps wave 1 and all that kind of good stuff. And you can see how this would then avoid this low area down here between 23.04 and 26.42, and actually might find ourselves with a double bottom at around the 28.72. Okay, so there's a couple of scenarios here that are quite important to kind of keep an eye on. Alternatively to all of this, of course, is that we aren't doing this at all and we are still in our wave 4 and we haven't finished wave 4. This is always another possibility. Okay, so our wave 4 currently has this high of 40.99, but it's possible that actually we still have to move up higher. And if we wrap all this up, we can say, oh, maybe that was just one wave. This is our wave B, and then we move up into these higher ranges, up into wave 2s. Into the C wave, right? The A, B, and C structure, the 3rd wave up. Again, invalidation of our 4th wave is set with this wave 1, as in we cannot go higher than 54.89. So all of this is corrective. It's all overlapping structures, which means no trend up. So essentially we are still in our trend to the downside that hasn't been invalidated, but an ending diagonal would put an end to that. So we could potentially be looking at that 28.72 double bottom low point as actually the end of our 5-wave structure, and we could kind of be done with it. Alternatively, we could still be in our wave 4, and if this is the case, then deeper is where we'll end up going with our wave 5. I don't think there's enough momentum to get around the invalidation of 54.89, so I definitely do think we have to come back down, and we can obviously take a look at the Stochastic RSI to help us understand why we think this. Let me just expand this up a little bit. On our hourly chart with this little pump to the upside here, you can see that we had a good bump in our hourly stochastic and it's come back down a little bit of volatile movements here. A lot of people are probably going to feel pretty hurt at this point right in here. But nonetheless, if we start going up into these higher time frames, you can see that the 4 hour is overbought, which means we are going to see some kind of downward price pressure. And the same thing can be said for our 8 hour chart as well, also needs to come down. So there's nothing happening on the 4 and 8 hours that are really giving us too much bullish sentiment right now. The daily obviously has moved up a fair chunk as well, so that's also a concern, along with our weekly being up in the overbought. So when we start dissecting these kind of time frames and we understand that most of these are in the overbought areas, then we should be considering that there is going to be some downward price pressure. We might have to go up a little bit higher first, and that's perfectly fine, but we can't be super bullish under these structures where everything is overlapping, it is all corrective short term, and we overbought on those stochastic RSIs. This is a good indication that actually where things are probably starting to come to a bit of a close. We can throw in the Bollinger Bands here, and we can just reflect on what actually happened here. We can see that we have tested the upper band. We just tested the middle band right now on the moving averages. There was a slight contraction in the middle here, but there wasn't anything too glamorous going on, and then we broke to the upside. So I don't know the real reasoning behind why we pumped up the way we did, whether that is an organized pump and dump on Telegram, for example, as we saw back in February of 2021, for example, or whether or not people were getting a little bit too excited, maybe with some kind of news around the SEC and Ripple, but essentially nothing there has overly changed as far as I can see at the moment, so nothing to kind of get ourselves too excited about at this particular stage. But yeah, some XRP has definitely changed hands today. It's interesting kind of scope on it all, but unfortunately, I still think we have to come down much lower. The stochastic RSIs and the wider market is basically saying that we have to. We could, of course, push up a little bit more in the meantime. You know, September might be more of a bullish month than a bearish one, and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, we are looking for corrections. We are looking for the moves to the downside. It's not time to be too carried away or to get too carried away with the price action. Unfortunately, our trend down is still valid. We have not broken our trend to the downside, and therefore we should always respect what the macro is telling us. Guys, I'm going to leave this video right there. If you found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, join us in Discord, links in the description below. Until the next one, have a fantastic day.